a short message. Today, the world is especially those of us who love cricket, we are reeling because Shane Warne, who is regarded as the greatest ever leg spinner, surely, maybe the greatest ever bowler, arguably, is no longer with us. He passed away at the age of 52. So today I'm going to bring you 3 Bible lessons starting from Shane Warne's life. Shane Warne was, first of all, a very skillful cricketer. When he began, his coach, Terry Jenner, looked at him and said, "You're fat. In fact, you're very fat, so you cannot ever play cricket for Australia." But Shane Warne worked on his fitness, and he went on to become an outstanding leg spinner that he was listed as among the 5 cricketers of the century by the respected organization called Wisden. Okay, and he also bowled the ball of the century to Mike Gatting. You need to go to YouTube and type ball of the century, and you can actually see that ball which dismissed Mike Gatting in the year 1993, that people are still talking about it. Okay, in fact, there are other balls that he bowled which still will make even a person who doesn't know anything about cricket to just watch with awe. The ball which bowled Shivnarayan Chandrapal was another one. Chandrapal is a left-hand batsman, but he even bamboozled left-hand batsmen. Not just that, his performance in the World Cup semi-finals and finals of 1999 ODI World Cup, 10 overs, 4 maidens, 29 runs and 4 wickets, semi-finals. And the finals, 9 overs, 1 maiden, 33 runs and 4 wickets. 4 wicket hauls in a knockout game, semi-finals and finals, is simply amazing. So much of skill, especially the way he dismissed Herschel Gibbs in the semi-final when the match was slipping away from Australia. They were 48 for no loss in pursuit of 213, knockout game. Herschel Gibbs batting, but the ball that Shane Warne bowled to Herschel Gibbs to dismiss him, to bring Australia back in the game, is simply out of the world. So in short, here was a skillful man, very, very skillful man. So that reminds us of that we need to look into our life to see what skills God has given us, because God has given each one of us skills. For Shane Warne, it was leg spin bowling, but for us, it could be different. It could be video crafting, it could be eloquent speech, it could be being a good comforter, it could be, it could be anything. It could be writing, it could be preaching. God has given each one of us skills. And what are we doing with it? God gave Apostle Paul skills. You know what he did with it? 1 Corinthians 15:10. He says, his grace, in other words, his gifts towards me, was not in vain. Which means Paul is saying, God gave me grace, God gave me gifts, and they were not given to me in vain. The problem is, God has given many of us gifts, and those gifts are in vain because we don't use those gifts. Shane Warne used the gift that God gave him of leg spin bowling to bring about a world revolution, to bring smiles, to keep people at the edge of their feet, to be an entertainer, to wow people, to sweep people off their feet, to keep people hooked to the TV screen, wanting to watch him come on to bowl, wanting to wish that the captain will throw the ball to him. That's the contribution of Shane Warne. But God has given you also a gift. And the problem is those gifts have gone in vain. But 1 Corinthians 15:10, that's not the complete verse. He says, on the contrary, I worked harder than any of them, though it was not I, but the grace of God that is within me. Paul says, it's God gave me gifts. God gave me gifts with regard to understanding of the Old Testament. God gave me some expository knowledge about the Old Testament. But those gifts were not in vain. I worked harder, which means I spent many hours studying the Bible. I spent many hours maybe writing the first draft of Romans, second draft of Romans, third draft of Romans. And then what we have in the Bible could be the final draft of Romans. I see the Bible writers, especially Paul, who wrote literally more than half of the New Testament. They were human people, 100% human. God used their literary styles, but even as they wrote the final thing that we have in our Bibles, we believe that was inspired by the Holy Spirit. But they worked hard. Writing is back-breaking work. As a writer, I know that it's easy to preach, but it's more tough to write. And Paul worked harder. He was a writer. He bent his back to write what the Spirit of God was impressing upon him to write. I worked harder than any of them, though it was not I, but the grace of God that was within me. 1 Corinthians 15:10. So, skillful one.